Anything you want to say to the people? Well said. This is episode 3 in a series I'm doing all diving into personal style. There are 4 episodes in total, so this is the second to last. In episode 1 and 2, we established a whole bunch of requirements, and episode 3 is more about playing around and applying a lot of those requirements to cultivate a cohesive visual story. One that feels simultaneously authentic to you, but also adaptable to a lifestyle and sense of style that's constantly changing. This is not about labeling yourself. It's not about being on trend or committing to a certain aesthetic forever. And it's certainly not about creating a costume for how you want people to perceive you. You are not a one-dimensional sitcom character. You are a living, breathing being who has actual layers and nuance to themselves. The goal with looking into various aesthetics is to help guide you when you're stuck, not to define your entire personality. The real substance of your wardrobe really comes into play mostly with what we talked about in episode 2. This is more like decoration. Certainly the most fun to think about and the most fun to talk about, but it's not the most important piece of this puzzle. Which is where a lot of folks get tripped up. They think aesthetics first and then figure out how to make it work for them in their closets. We are taking the opposite approach. With the way I'm supposed to be recording these videos, I have my visual aids off to the side, and I should be sitting over further on this side of the couch, but I really don't want to disturb Pippin. So hopefully editing me can just figure it out. I'll try leaning, maybe that'll help. The first element, not entirely original, but something that people don't really think about as often as they should. Oh, she left of her own accord. The first step is really to think about how you want your clothes to make you feel. This is different than what you want your clothes to say about you. You can think about that too, but it's far more important what you think of you than what other people think of you. Unless you're a douchebag, in which case maybe you should spend a little bit more time thinking what other people think of you. But take some time. How do you want to feel in various contexts? Because I know my answer changes based on where I am. When I'm at home, I want to feel cute, relaxed, and a little playful. When I'm at work, I want to feel confident, but also approachable. So try and think about words that kind of align with how you want to feel when you're wearing your clothes, and think about it in different contexts. Empowered, sexy, energized, comfortable, calm. And maybe it's not even just a word, maybe it's a sentence. I want to be put together, but sort of in a low effort way with just like a dash of whimsy thrown in. All that to say is don't overthink it. We're not defining your entire personality here. It's just some key elements, and usually what comes to mind first is probably right. Now, going in a layer deeper, I'm going to go ahead and walk you through various aesthetics and have you decide where on each end of the spectrum do you think you fit between 2 aesthetics. Do you feel like your style leans more masculine or more feminine? A big mistake is thinking this means boy versus girl. That is very different. There is an artistic definition of the feminine versus masculine styles. So in the context of clothing that you might wear, masculine clothing tends to be like boxier options, more relaxed fits, or sharper tailoring. It leans more utilitarian and with like heavier materials like denim and heavier cottons, maybe leather. So you can be very she/her and also have a very masculine sense of style. And then you can also have a more feminine sense of style. Feminine style tends to be like, think more flowing. You're typically emphasizing the waist. There are some elements of flair. Maybe there are decorative elements going on, like ruffles or bows. The fabrics are probably softer and more drapey, like chiffon, silk, lace, a little bit more detailed and ornate. So you can certainly be in the middle of this spectrum because it's not as simple as you're on one side or the other. I definitely lean more masculine in my personal style, but I do really like introducing elements of feminine style within it. The outfit I'm wearing right now, this shirt, it's very structured, heavier cotton. It's a boxier fit, and my pants are like structured denim. But I do have this lace detailing, which adds a feminine touch, and my earrings are like gold bows with little pearls on them, so that leans a little bit more feminine. It's also possible you fall all over the spectrum here. Next is, do you lean more minimalist or more maximalist? There is a misconception that minimalism means it's completely void of color and you're confined to only wearing the colors that are currently on this screen, gray, beige, and maybe black. But when you take the artistic definition of minimalism, it's just simplicity of form, and it can mean a lot of things. It could be texture in the silhouette and fit of what you're wearing, in the colors. There are many ways to interpret minimalism without it just being like, I'm wearing a gray trash bag right now, which you're welcome to if that makes you happy. And the way I prefer to differentiate between more minimalist or maximalist style is, to me, a minimalist outfit is one that you can look at and in an instant, you know exactly what you're looking at. You can take in all the information very quickly. With a maximalist outfit, your eye wanders. It darts all over the place, and every second you're finding something new in the outfit to look at. Now, I love looking at maximalist outfits. Like, they are eye candy. They make me happy to look at. But I also know that they're not very me. I find them visually overwhelming to look at all the time, so my style definitely leans more minimalistic. Do you prefer your clothing to be more polished or more rugged? And a healthy reminder that one is not better than the other. And try and remember how you want to feel versus how you want to be perceived. Again, you are allowed to think about that. You are allowed to think about what you want your clothing to say about you to the rest of the world, because it is a form of self-expression. But I definitely think your opinions about you need to come first. So that's why I keep bringing it up. You can have a more rugged sense of style and still know your way around public transportation in a major city, but you can also have really polished style and know your way around a tractor. It is not defining our personality. It's just what makes the most sense for you, your life, and what feels right to you. I know that I personally don't have a strict preference between the two, and I sit somewhere in the middle. Nostalgic versus contemporary. Now, my example for the nostalgic, I went kind of like a 90s grunge direction with it. That's just one version of nostalgic fashion. This could be whatever your interpretation of this is. Do you lean more towards any specific period of time for your outfit inspiration? Are you really into 1700s Greek Isle fashion? Do you like 1950s British housewife? Is there something that's meaningful to you or culturally significant to you, something you just really, really like and you'd like to take inspiration from? I tend to lean more contemporary, but I like taking in elements and inspiration from various early 90s to mid 90s fashion. And the last one is, do you lean more playful or a little bit more serious with your sense of style? This can also definitely depend on context. Maybe when you go into work, you like to have really playful outfits because everyone else is so serious and you just can't take it anymore. But at home, you care less and you can dress a little bit more serious, or it doesn't matter. So kind of consider how you want your clothing to make you feel. Think about these different aesthetic genres that we just covered and kind of keep that in the back of your head as we move forward, because that's all groundwork for kind of the meat of the video. This part is all about identifying your visual story. Gosh, that sounds a little pretentious. Put simply, it's finding inspiration. There are 4 common methods that I'm going to go over and dive into how you actually approach these methods. I found it incredibly helpful to actually follow all of them and make a mood board for each and every method, but you do you, we only have so many hours in the day. Mood board A is diving into movies, TV shows, books, just like fictional media. Think about a movie that makes you want to crawl into your TV and live there. Try to put together a list of like movies and TV shows that you really like the aesthetics of. Like for me, like Only Murders in the Building, Practical Magic, When Harry Met Sally. Honestly, my list was huge and I could not fit all the outfits onto one mood board. And you don't really need that many, but looking up each of these movies, TV shows, whatever it is, looking it up and picking out any outfits from there that you like and building up this big collection. You want to have a solid, huge collection of photos to the point where you're like, is this way too many photos? It should be. Because looking at this big collection of photos, I would like you to do 2 separate things. So step 1 would be look at this collection of photos that you put together and think about how it aligns with your answers to some of the aesthetic questions I asked earlier. So if you thought, oh, I really like rugged stuff, like I definitely lean more rugged. So if you were thinking earlier, oh, I definitely lean more rugged with my style, that's for sure my preference. But if you're looking at all these pictures right now and they're all very polished, maybe call into question if what you think you like actually aligns with what you're demonstrating you like. Because that's a disconnect that we're trying to repair by doing these different mood boards. You can think you like a lot of stuff, but when it comes to it, you might not actually like it as much as you think you did. The second thing I'd recommend you do is if you followed along with episode 2 in this series and you put together your clothing requirements and you have your visual aids there and outfit recipes, go ahead and delete any images in your little collection here that do not align with your requirements. If it does not meet your requirements, you wouldn't wear it. For example, I really love the aesthetics of the TV show The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Love the outfits in it. It brings me joy. A lot of the characters on that show, especially the characters whose styles I like the most, like Sabrina, they're wearing a lot of tight tops and tight bottoms combined. I would never wear that. And so it doesn't make sense for me to put those into my mood boards because I would never wear that. So by the time I was done scrutinizing all these photos, I was left with a mood board of outfits that I would actually wear. Not only that, outfits I already own. In most cases, I could build an outfit for almost all of these looks using what I already have in my closet. And that's how you know you're on the right track with your wardrobe. Oh, just a quick side note on the movie front. I think it's absolutely criminal that Double Jeopardy only has a 28% on Rotten Tomatoes. I watch it every year around fall, and the vibes in the first act of the movie, oh my gosh, it's affluent Pacific Northwest, 90s fashion. It is so good. There's so many good looks in there, and if you like to knit, there are a lot of really good knit looks in there too. The vibes are there, so I don't know why I got such a low score, but I will defend this movie. Mood board B is looking into your own life. Look through old photos of yours and pick out outfits that you love. And if you can, try and remember if you liked them at the time too. That's extra helpful. Nothing is more tried and true than something that you actually wore and loved. I don't know why so many people go to Pinterest first. I don't know why I always went to Pinterest first when really I should be going through my old photos. That's how I'm going to find outfits that I love that I would actually wear. It just makes sense, right? And this is actually my favorite exercise to do because I realized I had hella style as a kid before all the anxiety set in. Try and go back to outfits where you were more experimental. I think the fear of being cringy has really made us all boring. We're afraid to have a bad look as adults. A lot of us are afraid of looking silly, and so we don't really try stuff or take risks with our style. Have you ever taken a risk in the past and it worked out for you? Pay attention to that. Also, in doing this, I realized I wish I had more pictures of me as a teenager and in college. It's like the year 2017 never happened. I don't have a single photo of me from that entire year. I just want to take a brief moment to shout out my two favorite looks that I found by looking through my childhood photos. A leotard with sweatpants and a faux pearl necklace. I should wear this today. Who is this? I can't believe this is me just crushing this outfit. I was so cute. Okay, and then in the second outfit, this is why I want to get better at sewing. This is another reason. Because this is a knit hoodie with frickin' utility jeans and really cute fun sunglasses. Combined with the hair, it's all such a vibe. I would wear this today and I want to, but I don't know where to find utility jeans like that, so I might have to learn how to make them. But I could make that sweater. That would be a really fun project. Like a knit hoodie with some Fair Isle going on. That'd be really fun. Now, if you're building this mood board where you're looking back at photos of yourself, I'd recommend going through your clothing requirements and not necessarily editing down looks from your past, but maybe editing your requirements. Because if you said that you think you don't like wearing leggings, but some of your favorite looks and you felt most comfortable in looks where you were wearing leggings, maybe reconsider that requirement. Mood board C, definitely the most common method, and this is to look through the internet. So Pinterest, Instagram, whatever. It's definitely helpful, but of all the different methods and mood boards you can make, I think it's the least helpful just because the internet is vast and overwhelming. People on Instagram are really good at wearing outfits that you would never actually wear. So when you're doing this, you really want to be careful in auditing yourself. So I think it's a great method for getting out-of-pocket ideas and finding new things. Lord knows I spend enough time on Pinterest, so I don't want to dissuade you from doing it. But if you are, try and keep your head on. Looking at a picture, do you see yourself wearing that? How do you feel when you picture yourself in it? How does it feel physically on your body? Does it align with your lifestyle? Do you think you'd actually wear it? Where would you wear it to? Also on this one, try and add outfits that you would wear at home unless you are someone that is constantly out and about. A lot of us, when we're looking at inspiration for outfits, we forget that we spend a lot of time at home. And the last one, mood board D. This is actually a collection of mini mood boards. This is looking into different aesthetics that you already know you like, or just playing around with different aesthetics in general. This one's the most fun mood board from my perspective. So I personally made 3 trying to encapsulate my favorite aesthetics, and I would recommend for this one finding just a couple photos that help you kind of define it and then maybe put some words down too. So for my mood boards, I put down minimalist. That could mean a lot of different things. How do I define my own personal version of a minimalist aesthetic? What does it mean to me? For me, it means having fewer colors, but still having color present. It's more effortless with really simple constructions. A really specific aesthetic that I put in here is contemporary Scandinavian folk. To me, in my head, it's very playful and whimsical. It includes like Nordic folk design elements to it sometimes. I had a very clear vision of what it is in my head, and I really struggled finding pictures to represent it, which is why the descriptions can be extra helpful for this specific variety of mood board. And lastly, I made one for the fisherman's aesthetic, which was actually a really trendy aesthetic, I think last year. I really don't know when things are trendy anymore. I'm getting really out of touch with that. But to me, the fisherman's aesthetic, it leans more like rustic, timeless, coastal. Something I'd not only want to wear if I went fishing in the winter, which I never do, but something that I would wear like going to a cafe on the coast in the winter in a crabbing town. Aesthetics are really fun to play around with. There's no definition for a lot of them, and you can just make them up. My advice would be to either look up specific aesthetics or make up your own. So you can look up some like old money was kind of an aesthetic that a lot of people were talking about, which kind of turned into quiet luxury. But maybe you don't want to just interpret it as old money. Maybe it's specifically like old money, but make it athletic. You can mash some up if you want. You can take existing aesthetics that you've heard of and try and alter them to be what most aligns with you. Or just have fun and make up your own. I literally threw together two random words, martini and Christmas, and I thought to myself, what would martini Christmas outfits look like? What's the martini Christmas aesthetic? And that was such a fun prompt. Definitely not my style, but it's a fun style to look at. This is what I was getting at earlier with the point that aesthetics can be really fun. It's really energizing and exciting to look into them, but it should not be your first step in cultivating a closet that actually works for you. It needs to be the last step. So let's say you go through all of these exercises. You have your mood boards, now what? Do you remember in episode 1 where I talked about the idea of filters? And I brought that up a couple times in this video. Well, your aesthetics and mood boards, it's just another layer to that filter. Without a filter, we're having to consider all of the clothing in the world and trying to pick out from that mess what we would actually like. No wonder so many people struggle with it. But when you put filters in place, it makes it so much easier on yourself to find things that you're actually going to wear, love, and ideally stand the test of time in your closet. So episode 1, developing a color palette, that's a filter. Establishing your clothing requirements, that's a huge filter around fit and silhouette. And then this aesthetics, that's just one more filter. It's giving yourself the opportunity to stop and say, okay, I like the color, I like the fit, it matches all my requirements, but do I like the vibe? Is it something I would actually see myself wearing? Let's walk through a quick example. Let's say I'm looking for a long skirt, and I know, based on my requirements, that any long skirt that I look for should fit within my color palette, and I have all these requirements. So I found 12 different skirt options, all of which fit my requirements and all of which fit into my color palette. But I wouldn't wear all of these. And that's where the mood boards can be really helpful. So I'm not going to walk through all the mood boards with you, but I would personally go through every single mood board and see what makes sense and what doesn't. But I'll walk through the last one with you, my 3 like mini mood boards based on specific aesthetics. So looking at this, I would eliminate any skirts that I don't think make sense in my minimalistic mood board. Anything that doesn't fit into that vibe, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of. This does help narrow it down a little bit. Of the remaining options, which ones don't feel like they would fit into the contemporary Scandi folk kind of aesthetic? I want to remove anything that lacks that touch of whimsy that I'm craving. And then finally, which skirt feels like it would make the most sense with this sort of like fisherman coastal vibe that I like going for? When I picture that environment and aesthetic in my head, which skirts kind of make the most sense? So I had already pre-filtered these skirts for my color palette, all of my clothing requirements, and now filtering them again through my mood boards, it really helped narrow down the options. And of the remaining, I can see myself wearing all 3. I already know they fit my requirements. I already know they would make sense with the clothing in my closet because that's what the requirements are for. So I just get to go with my gut. Or if I want to, I can pick based on which one's the least expensive, which one comes from the most ethical company, or maybe do I feel like I could sew one of these myself? Now we cover a lot in these videos, so a quick summary of what we talked about here. First off, diving into aesthetics should be your last move, not your first. 2, you are your own best source of inspiration. When you put on an outfit that you really like and you feel good, take a picture of it or at least take a moment and allow yourself a tiny bit of vanity. Lord knows we take plenty of moments to be self-deprecating. I think we can allow ourselves a little bit of self-love. 3, Always go back to your outfit requirements. A mood board is completely useless to you if you would never actually wear those clothes and they don't make sense for your lifestyle. 4, I like to stick this reminder into every video in one way or another. Just like how you can walk into an art museum and appreciate the art while knowing you don't have to take any of it home with you, you can do the same thing with clothing and aesthetics and outfits. You can truly appreciate something and think it looks amazing. You don't need to bring it home with you. And maybe it's not even you in the first place. There are plenty of outfits that I adore looking at because they're just gorgeous, but I also know I would never wear. They don't make sense for me. In the next episode, we're going to talk all about transitioning all of these requirements, this visual identity, into practical action. What does that look like? How do you use all this information when you are shopping, deciding to make something? How do you edit your closet with intention? What does that even mean? It's the final episode of the series, so it's combining all the learnings from the first 3 episodes in the series, which was all build up to this final episode, which is showing the real world applications. So if you haven't seen the other videos in the series and you're interested in watching the next one, I would recommend watching all the videos in the series before you watch the last one. Mary, I just finished up my video. Do you want to say hi to the people? She loves showing her butthole to the camera. Mary has a very limited color palette. She wears one color and one color only. All right, see you in the next one.
Ay, amor, te quiero dar mis días, también darte mis noches.